You ready?
Thanks for asking. I'm actually reading the new Critical Role comic book out now on certain platforms all across the cybersphere.
You don't even own a tablet. And these are just lyrics to James Blunt, You're Beautiful.
It's true.
That whole bit was based on that one joke.
Hey!
Was that alright?
That was fine.
It was probably just not that funny.
Hello, and welcome, Internet Cybersphere denizens, to the latest edition of NPCs of Tal'Dorei reviewing 112, episode title... Dark something.
Dark Dealings.
Dark Dealings!
Or
yes.
It was called Thor and Paul Revisited in the original stream, but
yeah.
They called it Dark Dealings in the release.
So if you watched it online during the live Twitch stream, it was Thor and Paul Revisited, or Dark Dealings if you watched it later.
Yeah.
On,
it's probably because of how dark it actually got it around the end.
Oh man, I can't wait to get to that part. It's in my notes, but we'll start with the start.
We'll start with our names.
Oh, that might be useful as well. My name's Oliver Dungeon Master, and this is
Dave. And we probably also should start with saying thank you for everyone that actually has liked this channel in the past week and the outpouring of support from the critter community. We did have basically a troll. I'm really just summarising what happened. We had a bit of a troll on our on our last video. Yeah. And I started to have I was kind of second guessing what we were doing was actually frowned upon on the wider Critical Role community, so I kind of reached out, but pretty much the opposite happened. Everyone encouraged us to keep going and supported the channel. We gained a bunch of new subs, went past 100 on YouTube, which is the first major milestone, which is pretty damn cool, and now we have like custom URLs. And then I made a bet to myself that if we get to 1,000 subs and 1,000 plays on our podcast, I would get a tattoo of D20 Multiverse.
Yeah.
I haven't told him.
I just learned that just then, but I'm playing it off cool, like I knew all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
The question is,
that happened. No,
do I have to get one as well?
No, you can if you want it.
I could actually.
You want it?
I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm too scared.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't think you'd do it. But yeah, it was 1,000.
Can I do the tattoo on you?
No.
Okay.
That's a horrible idea.
I thought
it's like saying, can I punch you? No. It's your idea. So wait, it was 1,000 subs, 10,000 YouTube views, and 1,000 plays on our podcast. Yeah, the GM Journey with Benjamin Crellin. Yes. So, let us now, once announcements are out of the way, get into reviewing episode 112, Dark Dealings. Yes. Or Thor and Paul Revisited. Yes. So, for my first note in my notes is, this may be the 7 cups of coffee talking, but I'm so excited! You know, it's really hard to live with Ollie when he drinks too much coffee. He kind of goes in like sparks. He like goes coffee until he burns out of coffee and then switches to tea, and then coffee starts to build up again, and it's just another big endless cycle. Forever and ever and ever, coffee and tea. So essentially the first thing that we do here in this episode is, Vax heals Scanlan's Two-Face after being attacked by the Sphere of Annihilation, which Sam was doing this kind of thing as he was role-playing, and then Vax goes, wait, last episode, wasn't it the other side of your face? And he's like, yeah, that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. And it's also worth noting Ashley's here. Yeah, via the she doesn't say too much, which normally happens when someone's like just vamping in from across the plane of existence.
But it's always nice to see you.
But it's always nice to see her. So thanks, Ashley, for being there.
Yeah. She watches this, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, so subs Matthew Mercers and everyone.
They complete a short rest, which was, if you remember last week, they did a lot of deliberation about if they should take a long rest or short rest, because they have expended a lot of spell slots as Matt is throwing all this stuff at them in the Titan, and they are reaching up to the final Vecna battle.
It's kind of the trend at the moment to kind of do a little bit, plan, sit, think about things. I think Matthew is getting a little bit annoyed by it. I can see a little bit. Yeah, I can see him kind of doing what you do, and that if there's too much of a down period, something has to happen. Something starts happening. Yeah. So essentially this episode, a ton happened. We'll try and get through everything important. But short rest. So things like Keyless Wild Shape would get replenished with a short rest. There are other things. They don't regain all their spell slots, but they regain certain hits dice with the hit points and that kind of thing. So a normal short rest. Yeah, so they're trying to do the best. Then they find Kevin. Yes. Well, they scry a little bit as well. Oh, yes. So they do a bit of scrying, and Vex for the first time scries. Yeah, and Grog says you're about to ride the Matrix. But it turns out Vecna can see through that.
Yeah, Vecna's got very powerful perception abilities. He can see through scrying. Later on, Vex and stuff do some shit in the ethereal plane, and he watches them there.
Oh, that was a weird moment.
That really was. Man, that took 20 minutes, but we'll get to that. So they find a cabin that's been
I put Team Half Out sucks because they got nothing achieved.
It was a good solid 20-30 minutes, and then they're like, wait. This one thing means that all our planning
stones or something. I don't know. We'll get back to it.
So the cabin has been defiled, and unlike the rest of the Titan, that's where they find themselves. Scanlan is bringing the Sphere of Annihilation with them. I think he can move it 15 feet around. So it's a very slow-moving thing, essentially like a spherical drill that does a lot of damage, can go through pretty much anything. They think, hey, that might be useful, let's bring that with us. That's when they realise that Tharum Fala is right above them, the Dwarven city.
Because they start to see kind of indications from the bottom that the city is there.
So they know they have to go directly up, and they're not too sure how.
And they kind of debate about how they're going to do it, whether they'll use the orb, or whether they'll take other means. And again, there's a lot of talking. And I think, if anyone's played D&D, you realise that there is a lot of planning that goes into certain much, but sometimes the DM can get a bit annoyed if session after sessions just kind of do a little thing, then plan.
And I actually did notice that I'm pretty sure Matt did not expect them to be able to use the Sphere of Annihilation to tunnel through this thing. I think he had a lot of other stuff planned. Because when they said, let's just use the Sphere of Annihilation, he was like,
I think that's why the thing happened at the end.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was just like,
that's it.
If these guys, let's just kill one of them.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
So, Kiki scries, sees the Death Knight. That's when Vecna interrupts the scrying and solidly just peers through their minds and stuff. And they go, oh crap, Vecna...
Kind of knows we're here, that they weren't 100% sure what Vecna knew, other than the fact they know, Vecna knows they're coming.
Yeah, so Vecna's been alerted to the presence of Vokmark and are on their way to find him. In fact, later in the episode he gets a bit more information as well. So, after this, they find an archway with guards, and I think Scanlan is the one that convinces the party to, instead of attack and maybe knock them unconscious, let's just bluff our way through this. So bluff rolls.
That's why I relate to probably Scanlan the most, because that's my character.
It's a Stefan thing to do.
That's Stefan from Eyes of Elisia.
Except for once you've succeeded in the bluff, you insult them to the point where they attack you.
Whoa, yeah, it's just kind of like, you got to go down swinging.
Might as well.
But yeah, I think that's a real kind of D&D stuff, is that not every situation needs to be solved by just killing.
No. And we learned that when you guys fought the Barbed Devil surrounded by imps in one of the first sessions of Eyes of Elisia pre-stream.
Let's not mention how Raymond died.
Anyway, carrying on, because there's a lot to get through. Scanlan uses the Hat of Disguise, multiple use item, very...
he gets into character.
Method acting, why not? Kiki war paints herself with some soot. I just had that noted down because I thought it was cool. Vax rolls a stealth check with a grand total of 47.
And bamps into a different game.
Yeah. Matt said that your stealth was so high, if people were to watch previous episodes of Critical Role, Liam would not be here. It's 47 is the highest roll I've ever seen anything do in 5th edition.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It
was a nat 20, so plus without a trace, proficiencies, armors, boots of haste, all that kind of stuff.
I'm pretty sure he can't fail a stealth roll.
No, I think if he rolls a 1, it's still
it's
still 20.
Rolls a 1, and the worst result they get is someone there. He's still pretty good.
I've just got a simple note after that. Scanlan lies. Yep, cool. It's a lot of bluff. Massive deliberation after this. But essentially...
Again, more talking.
Yeah, there's been so much in this. Most of this is just like planning. Vex, Percy attack stealthily the humanoids. This creature jumps on Vex, he stabs it to death. I've got Pike's AC is 23, wow, written down.
They're basically gods.
They're very close to that,
Yeah, it's just that they kind of get away with a lot of stuff, but they're still, regardless of how powerful they are, their plan still went to crap.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best quote from this episode is, alright, we have a plan, it's not going to go well.
Who was that?
I think it's Grog. I think it was
Percy.
I think Travis said something like that. Well, this is a good plan, it's not going to work.
That's D&D.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they make
that's Vox Market.
They make their way up they go, and find themselves eventually in a clear place, an open place, with... Was it hundreds of Gloomstalkers?
A lot. And also River and Wyvern? Wyvern Riders?
Wyvern Riders.
So, I wasn't clear on this bit. So, the Wyvern Riders, were they undead?
They would be, I think, yeah.
Because I gave the impression, because they said they were throwing something at the barrier and it wasn't doing anything. Like, it was being attacked.
There was like a protection spell on the
Yeah, there was a protection plate. So if the Wyvern Riders were throwing things at the barrier, it would mean they were not undead because they were attacking it.
Ooh, let me take a look.
That's the kind of thing, because
Wyvern Riders, I've just got...
Because everyone went, like, in the game, they went, like, they thought probably they were undead, but Matt was very kind of, this is, it's not as bad, but they didn't go too far into it because they wanted to explore other things or talk about other things. So I think Matt intended for the Wyvern Riders to actually be attacking that, so they're still alive.
Right.
But it's not doing anything.
I mean, there was their friend, the brass dragon that is their friend.
Yes.
He was there.
So
it's
I'm
possible
assuming
Wyvern Riders
Wyvern Riders and the
brass dragon.
I can't remember their name, and I know we've done this before. How we'll
just put it up. Yeah, we'll just do that.
You're editing it. So
I know.
Right.
Yeah, I'll put it there.
So they must have gotten in and are attacking it, which I don't think the Vox Machina clicked on.
Yeah.
Because they could have just said, "Hey,
come,
help us out," or send a message to them, or communicate that they're in the same vicinity to help out. And I think Matt was kind of like, "Why didn't you click that?"
Right. Well, see, I didn't click to that, so maybe that matters.
Yeah, because if the Bronze Dragon's there, the Wyvern Riders would have been there, and it wasn't specifically mentioned that they were dead. They were throwing things at the barrier and then were evaporating, but it wasn't doing anything. Matt did say that it just wasn't doing anything.
So it looks like Vox Machina had a bit of an oversight there. They do, however, see tons of dead dwarves, dead things, dead...
Unless I'm wrong. Let's just say that. Unless I'm wrong, and I just misinterpret that entirely.
Let's ask Adim. He'll know. Adim.
Yeah.
My man. If you can post in the comments.
What do you think? You be the tiebreaker. Or anyone else.
Yeah, feel free.
Tiebreaker.
We mentioned Adim because he watches all this because he's awesome.
Yeah.
We love him. Anyway, yes. Dead things. Now, they're really trying to find this sword. They believe the sword is really going to help. Well, some of them do. A lot of the party is like, do we really need to spend this time? Do we need to get this thing? We don't even know if it's possible to find it, because when you scry it, Kiki scries, that's under some kind of sootish... like muck, and they're not sure. Well, that could be thousands of miles. We don't know where that is.
Well, when you get that vision and it's just dirt.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you see if you scried into an item that was buried? Just kind of that same thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what they were saying.
So actually, the way they plan to get it. This is the largest deliberation of the episode, and it takes up at least 20 minutes of just going back and forth trying to figure out how they can get this thing from under the ground.
Because I think they oversaw what they were supposed to do, and then went on a completely wrong track.
So there's a lot of different talking. Kiki reckons that she can turn into Earth Elemental and go straight down and just grab the sword and bring it back. But then they're like, but you can't actually... if it was in Earth, you wouldn't be able to move it.
Yeah. Because you can glide through Earth like a person gliding through water.
Yeah.
Can do it, but you
The sword
can't
can't.
bring an item. What? But I mean, technically, you can move. Could you move? You can't move the Earth around a particular item, can you?
No, she just turns into the Earth itself and kind of swims through and then can solidify back.
Okay, so and when she turns into Earth Elemental, does she go naked? Does all her armor and stuff fall off?
Well, generally with spells like True Polymorph or Disguise, all that kind of stuff, your items you can choose. I think you can do this Wild Shape as a druid, so it would be the same with Earth Elemental. You can choose your items to get absorbed into you. You can't use them, but you don't drop them. So
you can't absorb more items once you've already absorbed.
No, I do believe it's only stuff that you carrying when you Wild Shaped.
So could someone get up to an item that was underground?
Yeah.
Make a little cavern.
Right.
And then kind of go back and then pack it and then walk back into it and then vanish.
Well, see, I'm not sure.
You could technically do that.
Druid, because like I'm thinking of Wild Shape, which a druid gets at level 2.
Yeah.
But Earth Elemental, I think, is at least a level 8 thing that you begin to start with. I'm not sure on the rules.
Oh yeah, so you wouldn't be able to unless you would have to you have to use.
This is exactly what Vox Machina does. They sit there and they try and figure this out because it's really difficult.
It's kind of an interpretation of the rules.
Yes,
and they did have one of those things later on as well about what happens to Vex she goes all Frodo in the ring.
Yeah, because another part of the plan is, hey, Vax remembers they've got the oil, the ethereal oil, that if they apply it to, you go into the ether, the ethereal plane. And they thought, well, if you're, the ethereal plane and the material plane share the same space, they're like layered dimensions on top of each other. So they could go into the ethereal plane where they can pass through solid objects, but still be in the Titan with.
This was just a really complicated plan.
Literally, at least 20 minutes went into just them deliberating.
Yeah,
at this moment.
I think it made it a little bit overcomplicated to get a sword that they may or may not help them.
Yeah, but some people in the party, namely Keyleth, were really convinced that they needed the sword, and so
she probably
after a long time,
while Matt was sleeping one day, he probably get the sword. And she's like,
"Oh my god!
All right, they have the text group and gotta tell them."
I'd love to think that Kiki, when Matt is asleep, is just writing down, just watching him intently with a notebook, waiting for him to go. Oh,
yeah.
And it's probably what they do.
Yeah, or getting revenge on them for the goldfish. Then.
Yeah. Okay, so after this...
So basically Team Half-Elf gets together. They form, so Vex, and Keyleth, to get this sword.
Yeah.
And just it's... We could explain everything, but it gets really confusing. But basically, Vex kind of goes all ethereal.
Ethereal, and then Kiki
goes Earth Elemental down, and
they get there, they find it's encased in acid, they take a lot of acid damage, but they get the sword, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much the sum of it. And there was a bit of... Vex kind of got lost in the ethereal, and then Trinket came out, and that's how they knew...
Yeah, no, because
Vex was there.
Kiki could not hear Vex because she was on a different plane, but she figured out that Trinket was not on that plane because he was in a necklace, so if she took him out, he would appear in the material plane at the same spot where she was in the ethereal plane, which would take the same...
Either way, they got the sword.
Yeah. That's all we need to know after, all the deliberation. They actually managed to get it, which is awesome.
And then they go back to the mansion, and then they start talking about what they're going to do next.
And there's more!
But
20 minutes of deliberation.
Then Matt decides... He's had enough.
Well,
and he makes the mansion go away.
Yeah, essentially, Dispel Magic is cast, and the mansion vanishes, and there they see Lady Briarwood and Silas. That's right.
Sorry, I just didn't realise this is me.
Because I couldn't think of it. I couldn't remember the name Silas, and then as soon as I pointed at you, my brain went Silas.
I think my brain kind of went like that as well.
I
was like, Delilah Briarwood, yes, and there was an
Silas. Had cast Dispel Magic, and the party immediately, I think it was Keyleth, goes, hold hands! And everyone holds hands so they can plane shift.
And however, Delilah did try and dispel it as well.
Counterspell,
but I think there was a little bit of luxury there when Keyleth decided to put a level 8 one when she didn't initially state what level the spell was.
Yes, because basically Matt rolls Counterspell, and if he can roll higher than the level of the spell that is cast, I do believe this is the rule, correct me if I'm wrong, then if he can roll higher, then the level it gets counted. So he rolls behind the screen, and I think at that point he lets slip that he rolled an 8, so it has to be a higher level than 8 or higher. And Kiki goes, well, I've got that spell slot available, I casted it at 8 level. However, I don't think this is metagame, and I don't think it's unfair, because... Matt gave them a very brief window of opportunity to react to this.
I think it's because she didn't state what level the spell was, and at all. Yeah. Until that level 8.
So it's a murky area.
Yeah, I would say it was a DM call, but I think the right call's made.
Yes.
It's like we're being rereferees. Just like whether the referee made the right call there.
We'd like to go to the replay and just watch this again because we're not really sure what's going on in the game.
And we should just cut to everyone on Critical Role with that. Face palming. Just add in one random one.
But they managed to plane shift into the Feywilds very, very quickly. Luckily, they get away. And then some... This is where it leads into the...
This is where it starts to get a bit crazy. So weirdness. First we deal with the sword and Grog's sword. So this is basically Craven Edge, if you're a fan of Craven Edge 2.0.
Yeah.
His name ends up being Kaz.
Because Kaz was the master of the sword originally.
But it's basically Craven Edge 2.0.
It is basically Craven Edge.
So Craven Edge 2.0 decides to attack Vax first. And then attacks Vex until basically it's fed.
It wants blood.
Yeah, it wants blood. And he's like, I like this one better because it's a lot more open. It's a better communication going on right here.
Yep.
And everyone in the party was like, yeah, okay, because its main goal is to kill Vecna.
So Grog actually says to it, we've got the same goal.
Yeah, so it's a bit different from Craybench. It's like a nicer version of Craybench, but still you probably don't want to hold it all the time. Yeah. And then Vax makes an agreement that he's going to cut himself and feed it every hour.
Yeah.
We did that very synchronized. You see that? Yeah, I like that.
So once the blood touches the blade, it gets absorbed into the blade, and that's when Grog gets the largest item card I've ever seen in 112 episodes of Grog.
Card.
It's because the item cards are like this. Grog gets an item card this big, full of text of all the stuff that this sword can do. He doesn't go into detail.
And it's ironic because the sword is a dick. And then Keyleth makes the joke, the biggest, blackest card.
Wasn't going to bring it up, but we did.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, that's the deal with. So basically we've got a Craven Edge 2.0, which we may deal with after the game, or that could be part of Grog's story after the game. Is the fact of the sword consumes him, and he just ends up.
We will see.
Yeah, it's very interesting why they've done that.
Another guy that they
and his eyes are red, permanently,
and he goes sunk. Yeah, sunken. His face kind of goes a bit grey. They bring the guy. What's the name of the guy that they summon? The one that lives in the.
So he's basically got two names, and I remember this because in the live. Because when they met this guy, it was around the time of the Life Gen Con last year.
Right.
Which is why I remember it. So basically, he initially was called Garklu.
Okay.
But his real name's Artogan.
So, Artogan makes
Artogan, yeah. Weird, sketchy guy. He's basically a perv that is sketchy. And one thing that happened a year ago, one thing they mentioned is never make a deal in the Feywilds.
Right.
Because you're bound to it. You're kind of tied to it. And they make 2 deals. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see whether
the ramifications.
Yeah, making a deal on Feywild is it?
It's like
because my main question, which started me wanting to talk about and then basically do this show, was the question of they've staked never make a deal on the Feywilds because there's repercussions to it. However, that when they made their first deal when they met this guy, all those episodes ago, they did it in the mansion.
Right.
But is the mansion on the same plane of existence as the Feywilds, or on a separate plane?
Because it's a pocket dimension, isn't it?
Yes.
The mansion.
So what is is the mansion on the same plane of existence?
That's a question for the philosophers. If there's anyone out there that studies philosophy, like the work of Carl Jung and
that's initially why I wanted to start a talk show, because I had no idea.
Well, Adem.
Anyway, we'll go back to this episode.
Yeah.
So they basically summon them for a good time.
They send a message. Well, Pike draws a lovely message.
Such a great
which I think I might need to try. I'm going to try and edit this one. I'm going to try and find a screenshot of the note, because I think you guys need to
find a screenshot. Just take a screenshot.
No, but I had to watch the whole episode again to find the bit where
it's like literally near the end.
Okay, well, I'll try and do it when I edit this.
I'll find it for you.
Okay, you'll find it and I'll edit it in. And here it is here. I love being able to do that. So essentially penis with come for a good time. Spelled, anyway. So he shows up expecting a good time. And they're like, look, we have an idea. Now, they know that when they're in the Feywild, time passes in a different way. You can go to the Feywild, spend 3 minutes there, come back into the material plane, and it's been an hour, a week, a second. There's
but
time
it's
dilation.
Not fixed.
No.
So there's no straight rule for it. There's no way they could work it out.
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. And this guy is one of the guys that can control that kind of time dilution, time warping. So some very clever thinking. They decide that, well, wait, we could actually take a long rest in the Feywild and then come back to the material plane, and we haven't given Invicna 8 hours. We could, if we control it, have given him only a couple of minutes. But they can't go back in time, so they only can go forward. Yeah.
So they figure, hey, this is an opportunity to cheat a long rest, which would be amazing, because Matt, I think, has thrown all this stuff at them so far through the Titan to weaken them and lessen their spell slots. So when they fight Vecna,
or wait until episode 115, which we always suspect is what they scripted it.
So essentially they say, well, what would it take? What kind of deal would it take for us to make with you to allow you to control this time dilation?
So they make 2 deals. The first deal is that after they kind of win, and they get all the accolades and rewards, that they make a portal for him between the planes.
So he can come from the Feywild into the material plane whenever he wants.
And
the second one, would you like to do this, or should I?
Well, you enjoy this a lot more than I would.
It's probably true. So, the second deal that he makes is that when he learns that Vax cannot, in theory, be killed, in fact, is immortal for the time being, he says and expresses his inner desire the lower vibration of his soul, those dark little corners that lie hidden within him. He wishes to strangle Vex until the life leaves him. Vex, sorry. Which is little sadistic and masochistic.
I like how long you took to describe it. You still got the name wrong. It's like...
Well, I don't know. Vex.
Alright, anyway, he wants to kill Vex.
Yeah.
Like, strangle Vex.
He wants to know what it feels like.
Vex. He wants to kill Vex.
Yeah, so Vex basically wants to get you.
Yeah.
So Vex, he wants to see what it's like. He wants to know what it feels like.
And it was a weird
it was so weird.
I mean, Sam makes really inappropriate kind of under the table jerking motions.
He makes Vex makes Vex and
they give rules that he can't take his pants off.
He can't say anything while he's doing it.
Yeah, there are so many undertones to this.
Matt, what was going on in your head, dude?
I think he was just given the opportunity because when they were kind of offering, Voxmarket was offering what they could do for him for fun.
Yeah.
They mentioned the fact he's immortal.
Yeah.
And I think that was Matt going, alright, let's see whether Vax would take this risk. Would he let himself die? Because technically it's not really it's only been proven once.
Yeah.
And when that proven moment happened, so when Vecna evaporated and he came back to life, he had the huge conversation with the Raven Company.
Yeah.
After that moment, they hadn't actually really tested whether he can do that.
Yeah. But they think, hey, why not?
So I think Matt was going to see whether they were going to take that.
Yeah.
And they did, with not really too much, like, alright, so Scanlan and Grog stayed there as this happened and the other ones kind of walked away.
Yeah. Anyway, it was one of the weirdest Critical Role moments in the history of all things. I can't wait to see the fan art of that moment.
I don't know whether I want to see the fan art.
I have to see it. Get drawing, guys.
It's just like, because Critical Role trying to be like, they try and like, be accessible to everyone and be open to everyone's fan art, but I don't...
There's actually a quote that I didn't realise I'd written down from Kiki, and it's just, this is fucking weird. I'm just saying, as myself, this is fucking weird, Keyleth. But Vax turns to ash, his armour falls off. They do more planning after that, more thinking.
They're more thinking kind of, then Scanlan says, I can do things.
Because they're about to regain spell slots, so he's like, you know, I can do some stuff.
Yeah, I can do other things. And it was being very vague, and he was being committed. But he said he could make it basically a copy of himself. Yep,
and also that if he finds a large creature, he can turn it into a wyvern for Grog to ride.
Yeah.
It's like pretty cool.
But Trinket didn't want to become a wyvern either.
No, because it's permanent.
Permanent. So I didn't really come up with
nothing
definitive. They're kind of just exploring the options, and then
Vax shows up naked.
As he does.
As you do.
Oh, also, Percy got naked.
Yeah,
Feywilds. He just randomly had a mental breakdown, ran into the water, and then came back out.
That is a callback to a previous episode when they, I think, first or at some point dealt with the same guy.
Yeah.
And Vax has the whole thing of unbuttoning his armour that takes half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty much the end of the episode. But there is one exciting thing that they mentioned, or Matt mentioned, that there will be a special guest in the next episode. We don't know who it's going to be, but always looking forward to that.
Who the special guest will be.
Because it's at like a really crucial time.
It's a very pinnacle moment.
We will see.
Maybe it was the Death Knight.
Maybe it's someone that... Oh, it could be someone that's going to play someone they know, and it turns out that person has been Vecna all along. But we're not sure, so we're looking forward to seeing the special guest next week. I don't know. Maybe... I don't know.
Gilmore.
What's it?
Gilmore
is actually Vecna.
What's the crazy dude?
The gnome?
The one that blows off his fingers. Yes.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode. So much happened. It was wild. Some really dark... Okay, how about if you remember, I'll edit it in here.
How about we just... This is fun. Victor!
Yeah, Victor. We totally knew that
merchant.
and did not just Google it whatsoever.
God, that was driving me insane. God, that was
Victor.
Victor's Vecna.
He didn't even change his name too much.
Victor's Vecna.
Victor is Vecna, yeah. Illuminati confirmed. Well, that is the episode for this week. Can't wait to see who the guest is next week, and, accelerating towards the Vecna battle.
Did you just dab?
No.
God. Alright, but thanks again for everybody that has supported us in the past week. It really kind of kept us going. Me personally, I was kind of hit a wall once we got the second negative comment, thinking, what should we keep on doing this?
Yeah, I was the same. Yep.
But yeah, thank you guys.
You guys rallied behind us and made us feel awesome, and
encouraged us to keep going. We'll probably do another 20 of these before we have another breakdown.
At least.
Yeah.
So remember, check out the rest of our content. If you want to see him playing in a game that I DM, check out Eyes of Elisia. And if you want to see some of my friends, including a guy I went to high school with, play in the same world, on the same continent, who cast in the world of Elisia that I DM, go check out Black Winter Nights.
And we also got a Dragon Tavern coming out, which is me and Ollie's thoughts and reviews on the first ever episode of Dungeons and Dragons, the cartoon that was released in 1983.
Which he found online, and it's amazing.
Yeah, so that will be out on Friday.
Yeah.
So check that out.
And just thanks very much for you guys' support, and we'll see you next week for the next episode of Critical Role.
Yeah, Critical Role. Alright. You don't even own a tablet, and this is just a book full of Jane Blunt lyrics. Jane? Jane.